Before starting, it is important that you know the following. Some funding firms can connect together in a single instance of Ninjatrader, but they are not the majority. In this tutorial, you will learn to separate each firm into independent instances of Ninjatrader, even though in certain cases they may connect together in a single instance of Ninjatrader. We do this for two reasons. First, security and stability. Fewer accounts on each platform reduce the risk of problems arising from the mixing of different types of data, which keeps the platform running more securely and efficiently. And second, simplicity. Splitting the funding firms into separate instances helps avoid confusion, making the tutorial easier to understand. If resource limitations force you to reduce the number of instances in NinjaTrader, you can contact support via WhatsApp to evaluate your specific situation. However, the ideal is to follow the method explained in this tutorial to achieve the best results. Today, I'm going to show you how to configure this replicator so that you can replicate your trades across multiple accounts from multiple funding firms or brokers. If you only have one firm, please go to the video for replicating with a single funding firm or broker, which is found in the description of this video. We will proceed to configure the NinjaTrader platform. To do this, we open the platform by double-clicking its icon. Once inside, we navigate to the Tools tab and select Options in that tab. In the window that opens, we find and activate the multi-provider checkbox. It is important to mention that if you are using an older version of NinjaTrader and this option is not available, you can safely skip this step. The next step is selecting the parent account, which must be the account that will trade with the smallest number of contracts in terms of count, not value. For example, if you plan to trade one mini contract account and another with 5 micro contracts, the parent account should be the mini contract because it uses fewer contracts in total. Now we will configure the connection to our funding firm or broker where the parent account resides. Within NinjaTrader, go to the Connections tab and click Configure. Here you enter the username and password provided by the funding firm or broker for your chosen parent account, following the specific instructions they have given you. Once you have entered those credentials, return to the Connections tab and select the connection you just created to connect. If you experience problems connecting, verify that you have entered the username and password correctly and that you followed the broker's instructions to the letter. It is important to remember that connection issues are not related to the replicator, but to the funding firm providing the data. If problems persist, it is best to contact your funding firm or broker directly for additional assistance. Also note that if you are using a funding firm, you must first have logged into Rhythmic or Tradivate, or whichever data provider you are using in your case, and accepted their terms and conditions before attempting to connect in NinjaTrader. In any event, this process should be provided by your funding firm in their connection procedure. Once we have configured the connection, the next thing is to ensure that we are inside a workspace. If we are not inside a workspace, then all the configuration we make will be deleted. That is why it is important that before we begin, we make sure we are inside a workspace. To do this, go to the Workspaces tab, and if you see a line like this, in my case Untitled 7, or in your case it might be Untitled, Default, or whatever it is called, it means you are already inside a workspace and you're fine. However, if all you see is the default workspace's header and no lines below it, then you must create a workspace so that your configuration will not be lost. To create the workspace, click the New button and give your workspace a name. Now, it is crucial to understand that since we already have the main NinjaTrader platform linked to the funding firm where the parent account resides, we need to create separate NinjaTrader instances for the other firms or brokers, because in most cases, NinjaTrader does not allow multiple connections from different firms or brokers within the same instance. It is important that the entire configuration procedure for each additional NinjaTrader be performed as many times as the number of remaining funding firms you have. Remaining because one of them is in the main or original NinjaTrader platform that we have already configured. To achieve this, we will install the program Sandboxy Plus, a program that will allow us to open multiple instances of NinjaTrader on the same computer. Download Sandboxy Plus from the resources at brunomeza.com and start the installation in English. During the installation, if you are given the option to choose between personal or commercial, select personal for personal use only, never commercial. Once installed, open Sandboxy Plus and go to Options, then to Global Settings. Finally, go to Shell Integration, where you make sure to check the first option and uncheck the next two under Run Sandbox Actions. Finally, reboot your computer so that the Sandboxy configuration is applied correctly. After configuring Sandboxy Plus, we will proceed to create the additional NinjaTrader 8 instances, which we will call Alternative NinjaTraders using Sandboxy. It is important to remember that we already have the main NinjaTrader platform linked to the funding firm or broker where the parent account resides. So now we need to create separate instances for the other firms or brokers. Because NinjaTrader does not allow multiple connections from different firms or brokers within a single instance. To create each instance, open Sandboxy and go to Sandbox. Then select Create New Box to create a new box and create one box for each remaining funding firm or broker. Please make sure that the names of these boxes refer to each of the remaining funding firms. Now we must give each of these boxes a special configuration so that they are compatible with the replicator. Configure each box by right-clicking on it and selecting Sandbox Options. Under File Options, go to the top tab File Recovery and uncheck the Immediate Recovery Prompt option. Then, under Resource Access in the Files section, click the Add File or Folder button on the right, which will add a new row. Beneath Path, it will be blank. Double-click the blank space and add the path Sent UserProfile Copy. This text will be in the video description so you can copy and paste it. This procedure must be repeated for each box you have created for each additional funding firm or broker. After configuring the boxes, we will open the additional NinjaTrader instances. To do this, right-click the NinjaTrader icon on the desktop and select Run Sandbox. Choose one of the instances you just created for the corresponding funding firm or broker and connect with the NinjaTrader account you originally created for that firm. Once that instance of NinjaTrader has opened, you will see all the charts you had in the main NinjaTrader open. This is because when you open NinjaTrader with Sandboxy for the first time, that Sandbox instance creates an identical copy of the main NinjaTrader. However, once it is open, you can modify anything related to this NinjaTrader, and the changes will only be saved for this new NinjaTrader. Since everything was copied from the main NinjaTrader, we will delete all the charts that opened so that we can start from scratch. Next, we will establish the connection to the funding firm that actually corresponds to this NinjaTrader. To do this, go to the Connections tab and then click Configure. Here, we will remove the parent account connection that was carried over to this NinjaTrader, and then add the connection for the funding firm that really corresponds to this NinjaTrader, following the specific instructions provided by that funding firm. Finally, return to the connections and select the connection you just created to connect. If you cannot connect, you should verify your username and password again. And if problems persist, please contact the funding firm or broker for assistance. Also note that if you are using a funding firm, you must first have logged into Rithmic or Tradivate, or whichever data provider you are using in your case, and accepted their terms and conditions before attempting to connect in Ninjatrader. In any case, that process should be provided by your funding firm in their connection guide. This procedure that we have just followed for this funding firm or broker must be repeated for the remaining funding firms or brokers you have. That is, for the rest of the sandboxy boxes you created, you must also open their respective Ninjatraders, connect with the account you originally created for that firm, close their charts, and remove the parent connection that was copied from the main Ninjatrader, and then establish the correct connection for that Ninjatrader's funding firm. Finally, as a result, you should have all Ninjatrader instances open and connected to their respective funding firms or brokers. Now that we have the platform configured, let us explain what the account supervisor is and why it is so important. This supervisor is the most crucial tool of the replicator, and although many traders think they can do without it, they do not realize the risks involved. Personally, I consider not using the account supervisor an act of irresponsibility, as it is essential for protecting yourself against unforeseen events. The account supervisor is a control panel that allows you to visualize the progress of all your accounts in one place. Furthermore, it sends you notifications and alerts if any account experiences market-derived issues, teaching you how to take action and exit complicated situations. And here is a fundamental tip. Do not wait for alerts to appear during live trading. It is vital that you know in advance what alerts may arise and how to react. Therefore, I recommend pausing the video now and taking a few minutes to read the information on how to react to alerts. To obtain these details, simply press the How to React to Alerts button that you will find on the supervisor screen. In addition, the account supervisor allows you to perform several actions via its buttons. Number 1. Reset account lists. Restores the original list if you have deleted an account. Number 2. Hide options. Shows only the account list. Number 3. Pin supervisor here. Saves the position and size of the supervisor so that when you close and reopen Ninjatrader, it appears in the same position and dimensions. Number 4. Remove overlay. By default, the supervisor is shown on top of all windows. With this button, you can disable that overlay. Number 5. Close all positions. Closes open positions in all accounts. Number 6. Attempt to regularize phantom positions. If a phantom position warning appears, press this button to attempt to regularize them. Learn more on this topic in the How to React to Alerts section. Number 7. Alerts to Telegram. Receive notifications in your Telegram chat and monitor your accounts remotely. This feature not only keeps you informed about alerts, but also allows you to control some actions from Telegram. Note that it requires additional configuration, which you can consult in the configuration video available in the description of this video or by visiting brunomeza.com. You can also enable or disable replication on each account independently with the Activate/Deactivate Replication button. And if there is an open position in any account, you can close it individually with the Close button, which also deactivates replication on that account to prevent the exit of the parent account from being copied. Remember that closing the account supervisor is risky, as you would lose the ability to monitor and detect alerts in time. If you close it, you can always reopen it from the Tools tab in Ninjatrader. If we are using multiple Ninjatrader instances, such as the original and those created with Sandboxy, we must bear in mind that each instance has its own account supervisor, which means that the accounts of each instance must be managed and observed separately. Let us make sure to properly supervise each of the instances in which we are trading to maintain control of our accounts and operations. Now that we have all the platforms ready and know what the account supervisor is, it is time to learn how to install the replicator itself. We will start by creating the copy chart for each of the instances and configuring the parent and slave indicators there. The copy chart is used solely to link the parent and slave accounts, not to trade. So each Ninjatrader instance, both the original and the alternates, must have its own copy chart. This chart is only for account configuration, not for trading. It is important to remember that we are linking the entire accounts with all their instruments, not the specific instrument of the chart. So it does not matter which instrument or time frame you choose when creating the copy chart. The configuration we make will apply to all instruments. To create the chart, go to New, then to Chart. Select any instrument and any time frame. It does not matter which. If the chart has indicators, remove them and then rename it to Copy in uppercase. We will perform this procedure for each Ninjatrader instance we have. Finally, as a result, we should have all Ninjatrader instances connected to each of the funding firms or brokers and with their copy chart open. Before showing you how to configure the replicator indicators, it is important that you know that this new method we will teach is only applicable to versions 37.7 or higher. If you have just purchased the replicator, do not worry. The version you installed is the most recent, and you need not do anything else. However, if you already had the replicator and are watching this part to learn how to configure it again, then please first verify that you have version 37.7 or a higher version. This is crucial for the configuration method we will show to work correctly. To check your current version, go to Tools and review the title of the account supervisor. There, you will see your version number. If you do not see the account supervisor, then assume your version is lower than 37.7. If your version is lower than 37.7, visit brunomeza.com and click the Update to the latest version button or update your program to the latest version to obtain the latest versions before continuing with this tutorial. The replicator allows you to copy trades from one parent account to one or multiple slave accounts automatically. Configuring it is very easy. You just need to follow these steps. As explained at the beginning of the video, we had already selected the parent account, which is in the main Ninjatrader and will trade with the smallest number of contracts. To link the accounts, we will first create a parent indicator on the copy chart of the main Ninjatrader. To do this, go to the copy chart of the main Ninjatrader, right-click on it, and select Indicators. Find the indicator called NT8T8 Padre and activate it by double-clicking it. Assign the selected account as the parent account in the Account parameter and leave the default group Connection 1 unchanged. Important, there must be only one parent indicator per group, no more. With this, your parent account is ready. On the other hand, the slave accounts will automatically copy the trades of the parent account. These accounts can be in the same main Ninjatrader or in another Ninjatrader instance. To link each slave account, create a slave indicator on the copy chart of the instance where that account resides. Open the corresponding copy chart, right-click on it, and select Indicators. Find the indicator called NT8TNT8 Esclavo and activate it by double-clicking it. Assign the respective slave account in the account parameter and leave the default group Connexion 1 unchanged. Repeat this process for each slave account. Remember that all slave accounts must belong to the same default group as the parent account, Connexion 1. That's it. Now the slave accounts will automatically copy the parent account's trades. If at any point you wish to have another parent account with its own set of separate slave accounts, you can use another group, such as Group Connexion 2. This is useful so that different parent accounts operate independently without their trades mixing among their respective slaves. Additionally, if you want to test with simulated accounts, you can create them by right-clicking on the Sim101 account in the Ninjatrader 8 control panel, and then clicking Add Simulation Account. Remember that after adding the simulation account, you must disconnect from the current connection and reconnect for the account to begin functioning. Once you have linked the slave accounts to the parent accounts, you can modify certain parameters for each slave account from its respective slave indicator. For example, you can activate the micro to mini or mini to micro option, which will allow you to place a mini trade and have it replicated as a micro trade in the slave account, or vice versa. You can also adjust the contract leverage parameter, which lets you multiply the number of contracts in the slave account based on the number entered by the parent account. For example, if you enter the number 2, you are telling the slave account to enter twice the number of contracts entered by the parent account. Another option is to limit the maximum open contracts in the slave account to protect you from trades that exceed your limits. That is, if you make a mistake and the parent account enters more contracts than it should, the slave account simply will not enter that position and will lock the account until you close it and reopen Ninjatrader. The same happens if you have an open trade and exceed the set number of contracts. The trade will close and the account will lock. The intention of this parameter is to protect your accounts against human errors. You can also use the Market Addition option. This option will not replicate limit orders, neither target nor stop, but it will execute them. That is, when a limit order is placed in the parent account, that order will not be visible in the slave account, but when that order is executed in the parent account, Market Addition transforms that order into a market order in the slave account and executes it at market. This ensures that trades always execute. If you do not want this transformation to occur, simply do not use Market Addition. Finally, you can activate the contrary option, which reverses the orders. That is, a buy in the parent account will be replicated as a sell in the slave account, and vice versa. The contrary option is only available with the Market Addition. Lastly, we will minimize all copy charts in every instance. The copy charts will be our configuration charts, and we will only go to them when we want to modify the replicator, add more accounts, or remove replication accounts. Remember that copy charts must be minimized, never closed. If you close the copy charts, they will stop replicating. Now, you can go to any other chart different from the main Ninjatrader's copy chart, where you have the parent account and test the account replicator. Remember that you can trade any instrument on any chart at any time frame from the parent account. It does not matter if the copy chart is on a specific instrument and you want to trade another, because the copy chart links the accounts in their entirety. Once you replicate, you will see the trades replicated in all accounts across all instances.